This is the Plum Cookery School, where 5 lucky mums have won the chance to learn from the experts about weaning their babies successfully. They'll be creating fabulous food from real plum recipes and gaining top tips.
This session we are going to cover stage 3 weaning. Now this is when it gets interesting and your baby will start to assert their independence. They won't want you feeding them anymore, and this is when the wonderful food that you've been feeding them straight into their mouths, they'll be grabbing at the spoon, it'll be going in their hair, in their ears, down their front, all over you. Today we're going to recreate Plum's sweet Cape curry with beef. Survey that Plum carried out recently has shown that 60% of mums say that their babies prefer food from around the world. So this is the optimum time for you to get creative and try lots of different flavours and textures and different cuisines with your baby. Things that you may never have tried yourself. We're going to use some minced beef and some onion. Now I've pre-cooked that. All you need to do with that is to fry that off in the frying pan with a little tiny bit of rapeseed oil or vegetable oil, and just make sure it's very well browned. Now to create our curry base, we're just going to use some ginger and some garlic. Yeah, so you don't even need to use a knife. This scrapes really easily with a spoon. Therese, do you want to demonstrate? Right, let's get this going, because the first thing we're going to do is whiz this up about a couple of centimetres of fresh ginger and a couple of cloves of garlic, a little bit of water in there, and then pop the lid on and pulse that. The puree. Heat that up. We're going to cook that for a few minutes. So this is a very mild curry powder. Has anybody tried chilli with their child?
Yeah, I made what I thought was a really mild Thai red curry for my son Patrick, and when I fed him it, he was absolutely loving the flavours and gulping away at it, but a couple of spoonfuls in and it started to catch him on the back of his throat, and he went really red in the face and kept going
Oh my goodness.
I had to take it off him then and just open a pouch and give him that for his tea instead, bless him.
So I'm just going to cook that for a couple of minutes until it starts to brown a little bit, and if the water evaporates, now's the time to just rinse round and capture all that wonderful garlic and ginger that's left in there, so you don't waste anything. Right, so that's just been cooking for a couple of minutes and it's just starting to colour. Now at this stage, we pop in the curry powder and you'll start to smell it. All those lovely ginger and garlic flavours will come through.
Would it be possible to use a pre-made korma paste?
Just check on the salt content, because this has got no salt in it whatsoever, and with the pre-made paste quite often they have salt and sodium and things like that in there. Now pop in your cooked mince and your cooked onions, and that will stir fry that, so that starts to take on all the lovely flavours. So now the other ingredients we're going to put into here are some chopped carrot and some chopped sweet potato. Again, all those beautiful colours, lots of minerals and vitamins.
Could you use beef that isn't mixed? Could you use like slow cooked beef so it's more like a sort of shredded texture?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. You could use like a braising steak. You could use lamb in here. You could use chicken. You can use any meat in here at all. And then some organic chopped tomatoes.
Would that work with coconut milk?
Yeah, you could use coconut milk in there. Again, leave it really until they're over 1.
Could you just literally add the coconut milk in like now? Could you just pop that in there just to add a bit more flavour?
I'd leave out the tomato and maybe use the coconut milk as well. And again, if your baby has reacted to tomato, then leave it and try it again after they're 12 months old. So add in tomato puree just to give it extra depth of flavour, and then some more water, low sodium stock cubes, and they've got less than 0.1 grams of salt in.
To make it a bit more, say you do leave out the meat, could you put something like aubergine or something in there? Because that's quite a sort of...
chickpeas or something like that as well.
Chickpeas would be great. So we're going to add some sweetness by popping in some raisins. So it's been cooking for about 20 or 30 minutes. I'm just going to add some fresh mango in there and give that a stir around. Now, again, when you're cooking, you've got to taste. So if you're cooking for you, if you're cooking for baby, just taste it. Make sure the seasoning's right. It doesn't have any salt, but still you may need to add, you know, a wee bit more tomato, a wee bit of extra curry powder. Oh, actually, that's lovely. So we're going to cook it for about another 10 minutes and then puree it up and we can all dig in and have a taste. This has been cooking for about 10 minutes. Oh, all the vegetables are now really soft, the mango is incorporated and it smells delicious. My rice is cooked as well and I've blended some. It's a little coarser in texture, but it should taste delicious. So come on, let's try it.
It's lovely.
So staying on the international theme, we're going to have a talk about what kind of favourite foods you've had on a holiday and how you can adapt that for your child.
In Thailand, they've just got gorgeous curries, so like Thai red curry and green curry and stuff like that.
Maybe without the chilli.
Yeah, without the chilli.
Yeah, I'd really like to show my daughter the Spanish food, the tapas food, because it's so tasty and flavoursome. And I tried artichokes when I was there as well, which I would never have tried, but just trying to make them in different ways, which, you know, made
So were
me
they the
enjoy
fresh
them more.
ones or?
They baked the artichoke in olive oil. It was gorgeous.
And really healthy as well.
Very, very healthy.
With all the olive oil and the vegetables. Yeah, fabulous.
Yeah.
Growing up, we ate a lot of chilli. My mum makes a really, really good chilli, and so I'd like to find a way to really introduce that to Holly, so that the food I grew up on, really enjoying, she can start having as early as possible. Really, I love chilli.
Yeah, exactly. And at this stage, at stage 3, they can start sharing the foods that you eating yourself. So as they grow up, it's just normal. You're not having to cook separate things for the baby as for you and the rest of the family. We're going to create beef stroganoff. Have you had beef stroganoff before?
Yes.
So it should be no more than 5 or 6 ingredients. If you find a recipe that's got loads and loads of different things in it, then it's way too complicated, and it should take no more than 15 minutes to cook from scratch. So your basic ingredients: butter, but I'm going to add in some olive oil to the butter, as it just helps to stop the butter burning a little bit. Because the first thing you need to do is to saute your onions until they go translucent. Steak, use the best quality steak that you can afford. This is sirloin. It needs to be thinly sliced and very, very tender, so that you're just going to cook it literally for a few minutes. You can serve it with rice or noodles, pasta. You can change it, so you can add lamb in there, or you could add pork or chicken, or just make a mushroom stroganoff, a classic vegetarian. The onions have gone in. Mushrooms don't take very long to cook.
Even that smells delicious already.
Yeah, there's nothing like the smell of fried mushrooms. You don't want these to colour, you just want them to soften. So now I'm going to add the steak. For a few minutes until it's all just coloured. When you're serving this to babies, you do need to make sure that your steak is cooked. You don't want to give them anything that's raw.
There's something really indulgent about stroganoff.
Oh yeah, it's such a comforting food, but it's good enough to make for a dinner party.
Would you put paprika in it as well?
You could sprinkle a wee bit on the end, but it's not. And you can have a little bit of brandy. Again, only serving it for adults, not for the babies. Final ingredient is the sour cream.
What's the reasoning behind using sour cream rather than cream then?
It gives more flavour. Okay. You're not adding, it's an extra tang, because you're not adding any salt in there.
Yeah.
So it helps. And the sour cream is more authentic.
Yeah.
Right, that's ready for the babies. I'm going to pop it into the food processor with about a tablespoon of rice. You may need to add extra sour cream or even, you know, a wee bit of milk. Stop it being too thick. Right, that's lovely. Ready to try? So go on, ladies, go for it. Oh, that's lovely.
That's really nice.
Rich and creamy and So there we go, ladies, 2 wonderful international recipes. This is the time to start your baby on their taste adventures and make sure they try lots and lots of different flavours and ingredients and textures to stop any fussiness before it starts. Or when you don't have time, then there's the Plum Baby Taste Adventures range with things like paella and moussaka and, of course, the sweet Cape curry that we made earlier.